Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Paula's Place. Happy Friday. Had a little bit of sunshine these last couple days of the week and some rain. And when the rain stopped, I was out walking along my property and I thought, gee, there's this old fence there. It's been there for a long time and it's kind of rusted and bent. And, maybe it's time to take that fence down. And so when I came in the house, I was still thinking about it. And I remember I had this wonderful book called The Other Side. And it had a fence and children, and I thought, that's the book we're going to read today. So come along with me and let's read The Other Side. Here we go. That summer, the fence that stretched through our town seemed bigger. We lived in a yellow house on one side of it, and white people lived on the other. And Mama said, don't climb over that fence when you play. She said it wasn't safe. So that summer, there was a girl who wore a pink sweater, and each morning she climbed up on the fence and she stared over at our side. Sometimes I stared back. She never sat on that fence with anybody. That girl didn't. I wonder if she had any friends. I don't know. Let's find out. Once, when we were jumping rope, she asked if she could play. And my friend Sandra said no, without even asking me. I don't know what I would have said. Maybe yes or maybe no. I wonder if you have ever felt that way when someone said, no, you couldn't play. That summer, everyone and everything on the other side of that fence seemed far away. When I asked my mama why, she said, because that's the way things have always been. Sometimes when me and Mama went into town, I saw that girl with her mama. She looked sad sometimes, that girl did. Don't stare, said Mama. It's not polite. Sometimes we can't help but stare, can we? It rained a lot that summer, and on rainy days, that girl sat on the fence in a raincoat. She let herself get all wet and acted like she didn't care. Sometimes I saw her dancing around in the puddles, splashing and laughing. That looks fun. Well, Mama wouldn't let me go out in the rain. No, that's why I bought you the rainy day toys, my mama said. You stay inside here where it's warm and safe and dry. But every time it rained, I looked for that girl, and I always found her somewhere on the fence. Someplace in the middle of the summer, the rain stopped. And the sun was high up in the sky, and I stood there with my hands up in the air, and I felt free that day, and I felt brave. You know that feeling? I got close to the fence, and that girl asked me my name. Clover, I said. Well, my name's Annie, she said, Annie Paul. I live over yonder, by where you see the laundry. That's even my blouse hanging on the line. She smiled then, and you know what? She had a really pretty smile. And then I smiled. And we stood there looking at each other, smiling. It's nice up on this fence, Annie said. You can see all over. I ran my hand slowly across the fence, and I reached up and I touched the top of it. A fence like this was made for sitting on, Annie said, and she kind of looked at me sideways, like, won't you join me? Well, Mama says I shouldn't go on the other side. My mama says the same thing too, said Annie. But she never said nothing about sitting on top of the fence. Well, neither did mine, said Clover. I think those girls have a very good idea. Well, that summer, Annie and I sat together on the fence, and when Sandra and them looked at me funny, I just made believe I didn't care. Some mornings, my mama watched us. I waited for her to tell me to get down from that fence before I break my neck or something, but she never did. I see you made a new friend, Mama said one morning, and I nodded, and Mama smiled. And that summer, me and Annie sat on that fence, and we watched the whole wide world around us. One day, Sandra and them were jumping rope near the fence, and we asked if we could play. I don't care, Sandra said. And when we jumped, Sandra and me were partners the way we used to be. Looks fun, doesn't it? All of them playing together, some twirling the rope and the two jumping together, and the friends are watching. And when we were too tired to jump anymore, we sat on that fence, and we sat there for a long time. All of them sitting on the fence together. Somebody's gonna come along and knock this old fence down, Annie said. And I nodded. Someday. The end. Thank you for listening. You are always such wonderful listeners. And you know, I was thinking about this fence and the one my fence, and fences, just a lot of fences. And sometimes fences are helpful, and they help keep our animals safe. We put them up maybe to keep our dog in the yard, or a different pet. And sometimes out on farms and fields, they put up the fences maybe to keep the horses and cows from straying or running out, and so they protect them. But sometimes, friends, fences divide us, and they divide people, and they keep people on different sides. And like Annie and Clover, you know what, they grew up in a time where they weren't supposed to play together. And do you know why? Because their skin was different color. And we are all different. Some of us have different color skin. Some of us have different color hair. And some of us like different things. Some of us even think differently. But as Annie and Clover taught us today, that doesn't mean that we can't sit on the fence and we can't join on the other side of that fence. In fact, maybe it's time we take down those kind of fences. What do you think? Thank you for coming today. Have a great weekend, and I hope that you find some fun time outside with some family, and hopefully pretty soon maybe some friends, a friend or two or a couple. So have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye.